Margot's about to go with this coach. Get on Margot. And welcome into the Reach 11 Sports Complex here in Phoenix, Arizona, where we're here for a matchup between Minnesota and Arizona. We're going to toss it down to the field right now for an interview with head coach Rich Limpert from Minnesota.
Coach Limpert, I know you had a tough first game out here. You looked better in the second game, and now you've got your third game against Arizona today. Do you think you're building in the right direction to help you guys get a win today?
Absolutely. The boys had to shake off the legs a little bit. Long ride. Faced some adversity with the bus breaking down, then having to go into 5 minivans and then getting down here. But proud of the guys. They stepped up. We're looking for some leadership to pop up out of this, and it's happening. So.
You said you're looking for some leadership. I know you have key injuries. Who are some of the younger guys you're looking to step up and kind of fill in for those roles?
So Connor Gatenby and Eric Fong are 2 cogs in our wheel here that are really important to us. But, and they're both injured. So we're looking for number 35, Bodie Engum, number 5, Nick Abbott, and then Connor Mills at D to really step up and lead the team on the field. But they're doing that. We got to get caught up with the pace of play here. Some talented kids out here, some great coaches, and it's a great thing to be a part of. So we're excited.
All right, thanks, Coach. Good luck tonight. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks so much for the sideline report, Margot. As we hear from Rich Limpert in just a few moments, we're going to hear from Derek Pedrick on the U of A sideline. Trey Lanthier alongside Mickey Miles Felton here. And, Coach, we have a very interesting matchup on our hands here tonight.
Yeah, we do. And I should mention that we are in sun-drenched Phoenix, Arizona.
There you go.
And I apologize for all the people back east that are having trouble. But come on down.
Make the trip. Make the trip. We love it. It's great to see how many people are out here.
But, between this game, I think that the challenge for this game is for Minnesota to get up for the game. They've played 2 games, as we've already talked about, and are they tired? Are they going to have that energy in the second half of the game?
And we have Bargo McCauley on the sideline with head coach Derek Pedrick right now.
All right, Coach, you're off to a great start this season. What has helped your team be so successful this far?
I think the first thing is our defense has really stepped it up. They've been, I'd say, they're our anchor so far. Or I should say they're our identity. Offensively, we got to get off to a good start. So we've had a lot of spurts, but we need to play a little more consistent from the beginning. And I think if we do that, we can match what the defense has done and start to play some more complete games.
A lot of competitive games here this weekend, some really big, huge powerhouse teams. You guys won your first game. This is your last game. How important is it for you guys to go home with this weekend with 2 wins?
It's everything. We're treating this game like it's the only thing that matters. This to us is the most important game. All right, this is we're treating them like they're the number 1 team in the country, and we're going to come out and worry about ourselves, make sure we buy into the game plan, and just play with a lot of passion.
And how does it feel to know you got Arizona legend Mickey Miles up there calling the game for you?
It's pretty awesome. It's it was always tough to come in and try to fill his shoes, but he's done a great job. I think you can say this tournament origins. It starts a little bit with Mickey. He's done such a good job with growing the game in the MCLA out west, and he's done an awesome job. So we're just pumped to have him back on our sideline.
All right, thanks, Coach. Good luck tonight. Mickey, you heard that. You got all the love out here. Back to you guys.
Yeah, so now we've gotten ourselves involved here. We've broken the 4th wall, per se.
We made it personal.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And please, we want to make it personal with you guys as well. Tweet in at us, at Trey Lanthier. Let us know what you're thinking about this matchup, who you're rooting for, where you're watching from. All of that. And we love hearing from you, and we love interacting with you. And the reason this is all put on is for the fans and Mickey Miles Felton, as they said on the field, an Arizona legend. How do you respond? I guess now, how do you respond to Derek Pedrick's words of praise?
The way I respond is with a lot of pride and many goosebumps.
Oh yeah, I can confirm. I'm looking at the arm right now.
Coach Lampert had similar things to say, and thanked me for responsibility. I don't want to get all choked up here, but thank me for my responsibility in what the MCLA is all about today.
Yeah, and for those of you tuning in who may not know about Mickey Miles Felton, longtime coach at the University of Arizona, a big part of bringing lacrosse to the level that it's at out here on the West Coast. We're very proud to have him with us on the broadcast, but a game still left to be played here today. Arizona, number 9 in the country, taking on Minnesota, number 24, has the makings of what could be an interesting matchup. And as Coach Pedrick said, they're not overlooking this team at all from that U of A sideline. And you know Minnesota's amped up. They're hoping to get their first win of this weekend. They came into the weekend 5-0, have a couple losses, but they look real good against San Diego State. Now they want to get that win on the board.
Yeah, I think, Derek, Coach Pedrick kind of echoed my words. I believe we're on the same page as far as what Arizona, we talked about Minnesota, now we talk about Arizona, and they just have to really come out fired up and take the want and the will out of Minnesota.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this game plays out, seeing as a couple guys missing for Minnesota, most notably Connor Gatenby. And anytime you've got a guy sidelined who's such an impactful player, particularly in the leadership category, it can have an impact across the field. But I will say this, I got a chance to see Minnesota's game against BYU, and this is a team that has fight. They were down 19-2 heading into that fourth quarter. They outscored the Cougars 7-1 in the fourth, and that proves right there that this team is willing to push their hardest to the very end, to the final whistle.
Absolutely. I think that's the characteristic of lacrosse players everywhere. We have a tendency not to give up. We really believe in the old saying, it's not over till the fat lady sings, and I don't mean to cast any aspersions on anybody, but it's an old saying, and it's true. These games go down to the wire. Last night we had a game, Colorado came out strong, or rather ASU came out strong. Arizona State held off the rush, came back, and ended up winning the game. So the game is not over till it's over. And I think I'm done with my cliches for today.
Hey, no problem there. I mean, Colorado did come back and come up with a win in that game. A big charge for them to put themselves in the driver's seat for the number 1 spot in the country. But you know what? Arizona has had a pretty good season so far. They had a win against Chapman last week that really turned some heads around the country. They were the number 15 team in the nation, went to Orange, California, and Coach, you know from your many years of traveling out there, that is not an easy place to get a win at. And head coach Dallas Hartley talked about how Arizona played and said that they just had a heck of a game, especially on the defensive side.
Yeah, I watched the game I watched your presentation of the game, and I thought it was terrific. Very proud of the team. It was probably one of the biggest wins we've had in the last couple of years. We've had some nice wins, but that was a very huge win. And as you said, Trey, it moved us up to, or moved Arizona up to, I shouldn't call it us. Huh?
You definitely shouldn't. It's a broadcast and no-no.
This is TV, live from Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah, honestly, though, I've gotten a lot of chances to see this Arizona team play. I was at the Pac-12 shootout when they played against Oregon State. That was their one loss of the season. Really a surprising result, especially what we've seen from Arizona the rest of the way. And I think it's a good indicator that Oregon State is kind of a sleeping giant in the PNCLL right now that nobody's really been talking about because they haven't played anyone since their win over Arizona. And this has really been an interesting start to the season. We've gotten a couple of big results, BYU losing to San Diego State, but then coming on a roll through last night when they beat Grand Canyon 15-11, who's the number 4 team in the country right now. I mean, there's really no way to predict what's going to happen right now. It's not a traditional year in the MCLA.
Well, as the season progresses, we'll find out what's what, but it seems clear right now at this moment that ASU and Colorado are the 2 premier teams in the league, and there's tremendous parity for the rest of the league. And as they say, on any given Sunday, it can be anybody's game, and this could be. Let's think that this possibly could be any given Saturday. But
there you go.
Minnesota, I agree with you. They play hard. We watched them play yesterday. I did the game with them in San Diego State, and they never gave up. It was a 7-6 game. As far as Arizona, perhaps maybe that Oregon State, and not to take anything away from from Colorado State, excuse me, not to take anything away from them, but that game perhaps was what woke them up a little bit and said, hey, we have to be prepared to play every game.
Absolutely.
And that's what you heard from Coach Pedrick today.
Absolutely. So we're nearing the opening face-off here on the field. Still got to have the starters meet out at midfield. But for right now, just a reminder, you're tuning in to a LAX Coaches vs. Cancer Classic game, a game being put on out here in Phoenix, Arizona. This whole event has become an annual thing, started last year and run by the EMW Foundation. All of the proceeds go to the fight against cancer and the American Cancer Society. We've seen a lot of purple shirts around. You've got one on right now, Mickey, and there's really not enough that we can say about the awesomeness of this event has been, given that all of these great teams are out here, all this great lacrosse being played, and it's going to a great cause.
Sure. Well, you got 10 colleges coming from all over the country, some locally, of course, but you got Michigan State and Minnesota today, and we've got teams coming from everywhere. But 10 colleges thought enough about this event to come here and play.
Well, not only that, you have 8 of the top 9 teams in the country. Every team here is ranked. The only ones outside of that top 10 are Minnesota at number 24 and San Diego State at number 19. So it's not as if it's a low-caliber event either. I mean, it's great lacrosse. It's for a great cause, and we've gotten some great games so far, and you can expect this one to fall right in line with that category, seeing as Minnesota comes into this game with a lot of momentum. They could be dealing with a bit of exhaustion just with having played back-to-back days, but this is a Minnesota team that's taken itself a lot more seriously over the past couple of years. Rich Limpert has been working on renovating this entire program and really lifting it to another tier from in the UMLC.
Well, Coach Lippert mentioned that he's missing a couple of players. Fong is one of their leading scorers. But in the game against BYU the other night, Bodie the Body, as the players call him, Engum had 2 and 3, had 5 points in that game. He didn't show it quite as much yesterday, but maybe I see he's playing midfield now, and but maybe this will be his day.
Yeah, Nicholas Damberg, one of the top face-off specialists you've never heard of in the country, as he gets it back to himself for a moment there. The ball is still loose, though. And we are underway. Arizona's going to start off with possession here on the offensive side as Foster Bundy drops it low. A quick shot. They score right off the bat. This one coming courtesy of Ryan Baker, the junior midfielder.
And I tell you, Ryan Baker is a defensive midfielder, and he's just still on the field because of the face-off. He got a sweet pass from Mr. Bundy, Foster Bundy, and he knew what to do with it. But as you can see, he's right here on the wing on the face-off.
Yeah, that's a heads-up move for a defensive midi to know how to turn around and put that one away as quickly as he did. He didn't hesitate for a moment, and that puts Arizona up 1-0 to start things off here. Damberg taking the draw for Minnesota and for U of A in the face-off X as a flag is down. And we'll see some substitutions.
Flag is down
for Arizona. Number 6, now sported by Hunter Gore, and makes you think back to the William Stanback days, as Stanback had.
Well, Willie Stanback's brother is on this team.
Yeah,
he's a goalie.
Yeah, and it's great to see. You see a lot of lineage in lacrosse. A lot of brothers end up playing on the same teams or against each other in the same conference, and it's great to see. It's great to see these families.
I'll tell you how that happened. Willie.
A high shot taken from the middle of the field. A beautiful play as Austin Miller has really emerged as a threat on this team as a freshman.
He's from Palo Alto, California, and his name is now Awesome instead of Austin.
I like it.
Awesome Miller. Awesome Miller.
Sounds about the same. Sounds like you just
has that good
missing
ring
a couple
to
teeth. But
so Willie's mom went to Arizona, the standing back, and he wanted to stay back east, and she insisted they at least visit. He came out, visit, stayed with us for a week, loved it, and the rest is history.
yeah, and he had a great career for the LAX Cats. And clearly that's relayed to a lot of these guys who were younger who got a chance to play with him, as Foster Bundy, Ben Breen, Hunter Gore, Tyler Duran. All these players have really matured and emerged in this season. But Minnesota gets the ball into their offensive set for the first time here tonight, as from the outside, Nick Abbott. He's a small guy, but he has a strong shot as he takes a nice one right there to start things off for Minnesota.
Abbott's one of their leading scorers also, and but he's relatively small in stature, and he's going to be playing against looks like Lucas Hinkle, who is a big, tough, mean defenseman. A local kid from Arizona, I might add.
So Minnesota still with it, kind of just feeling out the defense right now. Austin Soyne had it down low. Now it's all the way back up top for Arthur Elmer. Elmer, a big body guy, 6'5", 196.
Yeah, good size.
And a frame like that can do a lot of damage, but it can also slow you down a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how they employ him in the offense as a midfielder. Joe Chu from the outside gets it back behind the net. And Nash has the ball now. Nash had a hat trick in the fourth quarter of that game against BYU the other night. Good showing for him. Chu tries to work
defense.
past a man.
That's Ryan Baker, number 30, who had the first goal in the game.
Chu somehow held onto that ball through all that pressure. Now the pass up top was intended for Elmer. It trickles all the way to the midfield line, and it'll be an over and back call. So Arizona will take possession.
That is a new call in the NCAA rules this year. It's very similar to basketball, where once you're on the offensive end of the field, you can't go back to the other side of the field, the defensive side of the field, unless a defenseman or a defensive player knocks the ball back there.
And remember, you can tweet in at us at Trey Lanther. We'd love to hear from you, where you're watching from, who you're rooting for, and any thoughts you may have on the game. Usually we get a pretty active audience for U of A games, I've noticed. But I'd like to hear from the Minnesota fans as well. Please tweet in anything, any questions you might have for us. We'd love to field them from up here in the booth. Hunter Gore with the pass across the way, intended for Austin Miller. Could not connect as it was a bit too low. So it goes out of bounds, and Minnesota takes over on possession. They had a lot of trouble in the clear against BYU, and it was something they patched up when they played San Diego State, and we're going to get to our first chance to see their clear unit right now.
Yeah, Ben Breen, number 25, is a tough kid. He played at St. Paul's in Maryland, his high school.
Workmeister has it up top. And the man in between the pipes for Arizona has garnered a lot of attention for his play recently, especially in that game against Chapman, which was broadcasted on the SLC YouTube channel. Tanner Canego can play against anybody, any offense in the country. You know, he's such a smart guy. He's also a team president. And a pass down low, and a goal. Trenton Woodcock comes through for the Gophers.
That's a good ball movement on Minnesota's part, and a nice placement of the shot over his shoulder. Tanner Canegro played for me as a freshman, and he worked his way through the years, and now he's turned out to be just a great goalie. And we say that after he just let in a goal, but that was. I don't know that was his fault. That was a tight shot. That was a great shot, actually.
Yeah, and when we've gotten a chance to see him play a couple times this year, and the performances that he's put on have been great. But a good chance from the Minnesota offense right now to try and knot this game up. They're currently trailing at 2-1, but they've got a lot to be excited about after putting their first goal on the board. From outside, a bowling shot taken.
That was good defense, too, by Matt Lai,
Kyle
the Tucson kid. His father played at Arizona.
The more you
Johnny
know.
Lai. And they live in Tucson. That ball is errant pass and out of bounds.
Yeah, so Minnesota coughs it up at the midfield, and that wasn't even a pressured mistake there. It wasn't a forced error.
Unforced.
Yep, and so Arizona's going to take over as the LAX Cats have Zach Rogers bringing it in to the box. Rogers trades back and forth with Bundy.
Interesting thing, when you look on these rosters, you see with Minnesota, most of their kids are from Minnesota. You look at Colorado State, most of their kids are from Colorado. And with Arizona, we have about 7 guys that are from Arizona because the high school hasn't raised up to the level that we need it, or that it will be, I should say. But the kids that come in and play, both here and at Arizona State, are quality players.
Yeah, and it really has been interesting to watch as Ben Breen unable to receive a pass. That one coming from up top, and it goes out of bounds. Minnesota will take over. But the level of play in lacrosse, especially at the MCLA level in Arizona, has been so high this year as Woodcock skirts through the midfield. I mean, we've seen Grand Canyon, Arizona, ASU, all in the top 10, and that's such a statement for the state of Arizona in terms of lacrosse. And teams want to come out to play in Arizona because not only is it great weather at this time of year, but it's also a chance to get some quality games on your resume.
Not to mention the co-eds at the University of Arizona, which I won't mention those, but
probably better.
I said not to mention.
Probably better that you don't. Body Engum.
Hey, when you're recruiting, buddy, you want to show everything.
I'm sure. I've never recruited anybody, so I can't imagine, but I have heard stories. Nick Abbott gets the feed, and that feed came from Arthur Elmer. Yeah, you can tell. He's a quick little guy. He can work his way into position. He had some trouble against BYU, and the coaches said, it's because he just gets doubled up by the defenders. And I don't mean doubled up in terms of how they play him. I mean doubled up in size.
Physically.
Yeah, exactly. He is not.
He's 5'5", I think.
He's a small guy. He's 5'7", but he's only 145, and that's a roster size. I'm not sure, because when I was talking to the coaches, they said 5'5" maybe and 135. So maybe the roster pumping him up a little bit as this ground ball heads all the way just outside the Arizona box. And it's a scrum down low. Foster Bundy had it for a second, but I think he may have taken it out of bounds. So Minnesota working in their clear. Nice heads-up pass from Elmer. He finds Joe Chu on the run. Chu makes a nice dodge to get open. His shot is saved from Tanner Canego. It's so difficult. Yeah, and I talked to Tanner before the game the other day and said, how come you never told me your name was? And he's so nice. He just said, I didn't want to let you know. I didn't want to hurt your feelings. I was like, what are you talking about? It's your name.
It's your name.
In transition, a shot coming.
That was
from
Matt
the LAX Cats.
Matt Lai is playing defensive midi. He was a standout in Tucson.
A nice pass to Austin Miller. He goes low, but the save from Komaruski. And Minnesota's heading back the other direction. Jacob Ogren brings it across the midfield line. And Ogren will get the offense set up. So a nice stop at that end of the field. Both goalies coming up with saves and consecutive possessions.
Absolutely. Both teams seem to have a fair share of freshmen on the teams. So usually freshmen come in with a lot of enthusiasm. And it's been a good game so far. It's been up and down. He wants to shoot.
A drive and open chance from Josh Workmeister. But the save from Canego keeps Minnesota from getting on the board again. It's a 2-1 game. Arizona leads it. It's been a bit slow since the early moments of this one, but both teams having a nice job defensively right there. Just a missed feed. Foster Bundy was there, and the pass was a bit too high.
Jackson Penny has he's transferred over to the long stick midi. He started off on close D, and now he's playing long stick midi.
And it looks like Connor Gattenby is playing in this game. The coach said he'd be a little hard to play as well as possible. Yes, he is dealing with a high ankle sprain. And right now, Arizona in transition. Bundy goes low. He scores! The feed from Ben Breen. And that's tic-tac-toe. That is transition offense by the book.
It was, and it looks like there's a flag on it.
And we'll see.
All right, so it's an illegal body check on Minnesota. And even though the goal was scored, they're going to be man down. We talked about that the other day. Technical fouls like offsides and illegal procedure and so on, as technical fouls are 30-second. They get wiped out by a goal, but personal fouls like slashing, illegal body check, tripping, biting, scratching are 1-minute penalties that do not get wiped out by the goal. So Minnesota will be one man down.
Yeah, this is a big face-off right here. Minnesota looking to come up with possession so that they can kill this penalty off. Arizona leads it 3-1 here at the Reach 11 Sports Complex in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm Trey Lanthier alongside Mickey Miles Felton, and we're here all weekend long with the LAX Coaches vs. Cancer Classic games, as that was a face-off win for Danberg.
That's a big win.
And that's exactly what Minnesota needed. And if they can hold on to the ball here, despite the fact that U of A should be doubling them up every time, and Nick Abbott just swirling his way around the opposite side of the field, letting Minnesota get some offensive pieces out there, and they're trying to just kill off the remainder of this 1-minute penalty. And by the way, we apologize for not being able to give you score updates, time updates. We do not have a view of the clock.
We have a beautiful view of the back of the clock.
And Margot McCauley actually coming through for us right now. It gives us the time update. There's 4:25 on the clock here in the first quarter, and we'll try to keep you updated as often as possible. Ben Breen wins a ground ball battle at midfield. Foster Bundy over to Miller, and it's a beautiful goal. Foster Bundy found Miller, and that's exactly what you needed. The defense played that the best they could. There was no other way to defend that.
It's a good fast break, and I'll tell you, it's very difficult for teams to prepare for Arizona on their offensive end of the field, because some games Ben Breen is playing midfield, and some games Bundy is playing midfield, and today they're both playing attack and working with Zach Miller, and it seems like a great combination. Certainly working well today.
Yeah, and Foster Bundy already with 3 points. He's got 2 assists and a goal to his name. Austin Miller with 2 goals of his own. And we're only in the first quarter. 4-1 lead for Arizona over number 24 Minnesota. And this is really an interesting time right now if you're the Gophers. This is a chance for you to get back into this game coming out of this timeout. But you have to make sure not to allow Arizona's transition opportunities to keep coming.
Yeah. And, that's what we talked about in the beginning. And the question was Minnesota going to be able to keep up with Arizona today? Over there.
And we're going to toss it down to the sideline right now for a report from Margot McCauley.
All right, guys, they're in the huddle, got to listen in to Minnesota. Coach said, guys, it's okay that we're down 4-1 right now. This is a lacrosse game. There are going to be goals scored. But with these last 4 minutes and 10 seconds of this quarter, let's try to get some goals going of ourselves. Let's get our offense moving. Let's create some space for everybody, and let's get a goal here and win this face-off coming up.
All right, so there's an update from the sideline. Clearly, Rich Limpert isn't too demoralized with what's happened so far, and with good reason. He's got a good squad in his hands, and they're very much still in this game.
Well, again, we've been talking about that all day. Teams, lacrosse players just don't give up, and you'll see a good example of that. The question is, are they going to be able to handle the speed of Arizona now that Arizona has had a chance to rest for a day and is obviously very prepared to play.
So coming out of the timeout,
we got about 4 minutes and 10 seconds, I believe. By the way, Foster Bundy is from a great family, and he had a great high school career in St. Louis. Okay, I got to move my microphone closer to the old mug.
Yeah, we apologize for any audio issues that we may be encountering as Minnesota wins the faceoff. They're moving quickly here. Abbott passes it off to Danberg, who's still on the field after the faceoff. An open chance for Gattenby, who takes that rip, but it's way high.
But based on that shot, I would have to say that Gattenby is doing fine. Feeling good. He's got the ball again.
So Arizona still on the defensive side of things. U of A leads at 4-1, but Minnesota trying to knock on the door and cut this lead to 2. A nice high to low shot, but saved by Canego. That shot coming courtesy of Josh Workmeister as Arizona heading back the other way. Baker with a very nice direct pass to Ben Breen, but it'll slow up the play as Minnesota's defense was able to get into position. A pass over to Breen, almost headed its way out of bounds. Breen tracked it down.
And again, you got a view of Ryan Baker and the speed of the defense here. Ryan Baker from South Point High School in Tucson, Arizona.
Tyler Duran with it. Up top, Hunter Gore on the far side. Duran working past the defense of Workmeister. Falbo, who had a pretty nice game earlier in the weekend. Arizona played Simon Frazier.
He did, and he's wearing a good jersey for Arizona. We've had some great players wearing that number 22.
A long rip from Hunter Gore, swallowed up.
Hunter's from Plano, Texas, and he joined the team last year, and he had a great year last year.
Komariski with a nice save. Minnesota trying to pay it off on the other end. Abbott has it, gets it up top for Steve Van Sloon. Minnesota letting this play shape up as Joe Chu tried to find an opening. Takes a dangerous pass, but it gets through the sticks of a couple defensemen.
It's Abbott. Oh, no, that wasn't Abbott. That was...
And I'm not sure.
Who,
another small player. That's Austin Soin, 5'6", 160. And that ball went very high. Must have deflected off of something at some point.
And out of bounds.
Another errant pass, and it's right here in this midfield area.
Yeah, they got a little lackadaisical on that. It was a decent pass. The player needed to grab it. Arizona clearing without much trouble.
Bundy along the baseline, up top for Zach Rogers. Breen and Bundy trade back and forth. A wide open chance here, but a miss.
That was Bryce Wood, who comes from about 3 seconds from here over at, you can see the lights over at Pinnacle High School.
Wow. I'm sure he's got some family watching out here.
I would say so.
Ben Breen holding it back behind the net. Bundy and him are posted back there waiting for this play to shape up. Up top with it.
Keegan Jennings.
And
He's from Horizon High School here.
Gets it to Breen. Breen looking for an opening up the middle. Can't find anything. This Minnesota defense is standing its ground in the set 6-on-6. It's really been the transition that's been killing them. And we're going to see a timeout called by head coach Derek Pedrick. He does not like what he's seeing out of the offensive set right now.
Yeah, well, I think that was a good comment you just made about the Minnesota defense. They're looking pretty strong, standing up. They're good-sized kids, and I think maybe they had enough of what was going on. So we'll see.
Still a 4-1 lead for U of A here in the first quarter. We've got to be winding down a little bit here. Margaret McCauley is in the huddle trying to listen in on what's going on with that U of A sideline for that timeout. We'll have an update for you momentarily from the sideline.
I give a shout-out to number 2 defenseman Nolan Baker. Nolan, when I saw his video that he sent me, he had the exact personality that I wanted to have on the team. And I chased after him. He's got great parents, Michael and Kathy, very supportive. I'm sure they're here right now. They seem to be at every game. And he's from St. John Bosco in California. And he's a big kid, and he's going to be a superstar. All right, the check is in the mail, I just heard.
There you go. As Margot McCauley is on the sideline to give us a sideline report. Margot, what do you have for us?
All right, guys, there I got to listen in to the Arizona huddle. Coach Pedrick basically took it to give the guys a break and to drop a play here. They're looking to get the ball to Miller and see if he can make something happen, sling it in towards the goal, and hopefully get a goal right here.
All right, so that's what Pedrick was calling the timeout for. It makes some sense, but that's not what you want to see coming out of a timeout.
Offsides.
As it's going to head back.
Went offsides.
Minnesota now going to get set up on their side of the field. There's only 7 seconds left in this half, or in this quarter rather. A deep shot taken, but it's swallowed up by Canego, and that will end the quarter. 4-1 the score. U of A with a strong showing on the defensive and offensive sides of the ball.
As a coach, you know, one of the most frustrating things that can happen in a game is you call a timeout to set up a play, and the next thing that happens, guys go back on the field and bang, throw the ball away. But there was no damage, and oh, hello.
We're being joined by the
Luke.
tech here as we figure out some of our audio technical issues. Remember, you can tweet in at us at Trey Lanthier. Let us know what you're thinking, who you're rooting for, and anything else that may cross your mind because we love hearing from you guys. We love hearing from you guys. And a big shout-out to TVX, Ted Bendrix, and all of his crew who run the entire tech side of this operation. A shout-out to Matt Holman, who runs the EMW Foundation and put on this great event that happens every year. Last year in Palm Desert, here now in Phoenix, Arizona. It really is. It's something special when you get this event out here.
Well, Ted has been great for years. He's improved the quality of play. Margot again.
All
Double
right, guys,
M.
right there, Minnesota head coach Limpert said, guys, we're right where we want to be. We've got 3 quarters left to play, and we stopped them. We slowed down their offense, and now we've got to make up for the ground that we lost early in that game. They're going to look to move the ball through the X on the offense and wait for something to open up so they can get some goals on the board.
All right, thanks so much, Margot. And you know what? We have to give a shout-out to Margot, too, because she's looking directly into the sun. If you notice those aviators she's wearing, it's not just a fashion statement. She does look great in them, but it's not just a fashion statement. It's also because she's looking directly into the sun, and that's the mark of a trooper. That's the mark of a trooper.
She does great sideline reporting.
Oh, absolutely.
It does not hurt her to have the sun glistening off of her face.
Absolutely. So, so far in this game, Arizona up 4-1. If you're Minnesota right now, what can you do to kind of get yourself back on the board in this one?
Well, I think they're doing what they need to do. As we mentioned just a couple minutes ago, their defense is playing a lot better, and they're moving the ball around on offense. And they just have to have some patience on offense and take the good shots and pass on the medium type shots.
And an interesting play on the faceoff there is the entire sideline called out to Body Engum to come back a little bit toward the middle of the field, and he ended up getting that ground ball. A shot taken from the long pole as streaking through the center, Nick Fix, the LSM, draws a massive celebration from the sideline.
Nick has scored before, and he's a sophomore. And that was a great play. It was a nice he protected his stick very well off the faceoff after he picked up the ground ball. And kudos to Nick.
Absolutely. You could tell the sideline is amped up. Everyone likes seeing a long pole score on the sideline.
They're tough for goalies because the goalie really it's hard to judge where the shot's coming from. Is he going to bring the stick down, up, high, low? Here's another faceoff win. by Danbury.
And Minnesota going to be set up once more, up 4-2 or down 4-2 right now. Arizona, though, has let up a couple face-offs. Minnesota's starting to knock on the door, building up some momentum. And that's why plays by an LSM and sometimes a D-pole can be so huge, because everybody on the team has this energy surge after that happens. And we see it right now.
Well, they cut the lead to 2 goals on that face, on the long stick goal. So they got to believe that what Coach Lampert said to them in the huddle was a good thing. And of course, me going out on a limb, I told you they just need to score goals. So.
That really is some valuable insight. Joe Chu is knocked to the ground. This one's in front of the net. Abbott was able to track it down, and that's an example of how his size can sometimes play to his advantage. He snuck in there without anyone even noticing he was around.
It's also an indication of he's playing harder than everybody else right now.
Yep. He definitely plays very hard. He runs hard, and you can tell he's always moving on the field. And this Minnesota offense is pretty excited right now. They're looking to catch another goal from this Arizona defense. Steve Van Sloun works on the near side, gets it back behind the net.
Nash has had a good game against BYU also. I think he had 6 points.
Elmer.
So we can expect something more from him today.
Van Sloun tried to find an opening, pass it down low for Abbott. It's still with Minnesota, though. This has been a very long possession for them. Some potential mistakes, but they've been able to skirt past any of them, resulting in turnovers. Now the ball is loose. No one's gotten it yet, and it looks like it's going to be Austin Soyne who grabs it. So this Arizona defense has to be a little exasperated right now, just given the fact that this offense has been keeping these opportunities. They get another one right there. It's Ben Nash. You just talked about him a moment ago, Coach.
Yeah.
And maybe he heard you. Maybe he's got some headphones in. He's listening on in, because Nash knew he had that lane right there. The defensive slide wasn't there in time.
No, he had the jet stream, and he picked it up and put it in. Went low on Tanner Canegro, and we got a 4-3 score.
A very exciting sequence of events for Minnesota to get themselves right back into this one. There's 12:30 on the clock right now. The score 4-3. UA still in the lead, but Minnesota having themselves a pretty nice run as of late. Just a reminder, we are in the second quarter of this one. The score.
Arizona's ball.
Yeah, and this is our first chance, I think, to see Arizona this entire quarter.
Yeah, they haven't had the ball.
Yeah, so an offense that was riding a lot of momentum into the quarter break is now maybe a little bit cold. We'll see how they respond in their set right now.
Well, there's a couple of players that Tyler Duran with the ball.
Duran passes across the way. Falbo takes a shot. He was looking for a top shelf goal, but ends up being above the top shelf.
Falbo from Foothills in Tustin, California.
Ben Breen
Ben
has the defense collapse on him, but he's still able to get the pass off of Falbo. Now it's up top for Duran. In the near side corner, it's Breen. UA just working it around.
You got to watch that sun.
Both sideline, yeah, you definitely. That's probably, honestly, a big reason we've seen some mistakes at the midfield here because of looking directly into the sun. Falbo goes with the bounce shot. Breen able to athletically catch that one.
Great grab.
What great hand-eye coordination. The pass up top intended for Duran heads all the way past the midfield line. We'll see what it ends up with. They're going to whistle it in Minnesota's favor as part of that over and back violation rule.
New rule.
And Ben Nash
Hope
on the far side.
Everybody understands it. It's a good rule. It makes the game quicker. I like it. It's a yowza.
We have seen, I will say, the first few games of the season, there was so much confusion that some teams were just taking advantage of it completely. I remember a USC-Washington game, and every time it happened, Washington had no clue what was going on. USC headed the other way in transition and came up with goals pretty much 9 times out of 10. So it's taken a bit of adjustment, but I think all of the teams that are playing have gotten used to it by this point. Up top.
Whoa.
Abbott took a hard hit there. He's taking a couple bodies now. This ball is still loose, and it looks like Minnesota's going to come up with it as Kyle Capel was trapping it down, but
Arizona
it
ball
goes out of bounds.
It's Jackson Penny.
Some wildlife visiting us here in the booth as I have a bug that just landed on my phone.
Are you talking about me?
No.
You promised you wouldn't talk about me.
I wouldn't insult the bug like that.
Now you're talking about me.
So, Trey Lanthier here with Mickey Miles Felton in the booth as part of the LAX Coaches vs. Cancer Classic game. You're watching on the YouTube SLC YouTube channel.
Another kid from Phoenix, Keegan.
Yeah,
Number
Keegan
12, Jennings.
As Zach Rogers works, he falls down, though, loses track of the ball, and it's Connor Mills who comes up with it. In the pregame, Coach Limpert called for Connor Mills to be the guy to step up and really own it here today with the injuries they've dealt with, and so far he has. As Woodcock thought about a shot, instead passes it back. Abbott was there on the feet. Instead, it's Capel who gets it through.
Ties the game at 4s.
And I don't know how Capel got that one off. He was off balance, and it almost played to his advantage because he ended up shooting it from basically the ground.
Yeah, and I think there was some traffic in front of the goal that made that difficult to stop. But this game has changed significantly, obviously.
Oh, it's a completely new game. I mean, it is a new game. We're tied 4-4.
Arizona hasn't had too much offensive play down there, and they've thrown it away a few times. And Minnesota is playing hard.
It's been a tale of 2 quarters. Minnesota
Absolutely.
has played with so much more energy here in the second quarter. And you really got to wonder how the rest of this game could play out. Nicholas Danberg, another face-off win. And this is where it all started for Minnesota, was winning these draws and getting themselves possession. They haven't wasted many chances on the offensive side so far in this quarter.
Right. Arizona is rotating the long sticks on the face-off. That was Mark Babick, number 33 from Tucson, freshman.
Abbott on the near side as the Gophers just work it around the horn. And Minnesota's had a little bit of trouble handling the ball here and there, but for the most part it hasn't cost them too dearly. Abbott sent to the ground. He loses the ball in the process. Abbott looks like he's going to be a bit slow to get up, but streaking back the other way are the Lax Cats. A pass down low for Bundy was just a bit off the mark. Usually him and Breen are laser beaming on those connections, but right there, a hair off of where Bundy was hoping he would have it. But they do hold on to the ball, and that's an important thing.
I was also surprised that Abbott didn't draw a foul on that. It looked like it was a little high, and as sensitive as we all are about concussions and stuff, I would have thought they might have called something, but they didn't, and the game goes on.
Zach Rogers on the far side, Bundy behind the net, Gore on the near side. Gore the pass inside, Breen goes high to low.
Yowza!
What a connection right there. Gore finds Breen cutting through the lane, and Breen didn't really have the best angle. He gets high enough to where no one could cut him off and goes low enough to where no one could make a save on it, and that's exactly what you needed right there if you're Arizona.
Absolutely. Hunter Gore had a nice session out there, and that was a great pass and a spectacular finish by number 25, Ben Breen.
You know, and something that's really been emphasized by this coaching staff for Arizona so far this year is the importance of having assisted goals. And so far, 4 of the 5 goals today have been assisted for the Lax Cats. Connor Gattenby worked it into the box for the Gophers. Got it down for Abbott, and Abbott again being assaulted and that's a big factor in his size, is that it's going to be hard for him to keep his body upright when he's taking body checks from these bigger guys. And Arizona now heading in transition. Matt Lai thought he had a chance, now passes it inside for Breen, maybe a bit too ambitious there, ends up on the ground, but it'll stay with Arizona.
Nice cut.
Wow, and
it's the yellow call coming from the LAX Cats. And that doesn't mean we're scared. It means slow it down. Changing players.
And that's
getting
something.
The defensive players off the field, putting the offensive players on.
Something about this team is they play with such a team dynamic. I've gotten to see this team several times so far this season, and even after the loss to Oregon State, there was no finger pointing going on. There was no blame game being played. It was all accepting responsibility for what was a team effort and a team loss. And they also celebrate as a team when they're coming up with team wins, like against Chapman and like the other day when they got a win here against Simon Fraser. Hunter Gore dumps it inside, trying for the dunk play. Instead, it gets picked off.
Yeah, it wasn't a good look, but he'll make better ones.
Jacob Ogren came up with that one and now passes it to Connor Mills in the clear.
Zach Miller, a nice effort on the riding. And here's Penny taking the ball away.
And Elmer
gets it back.
Yeah, he's having a tough ride right now. He loses
his
stick entirely.
The old helicopter check.
As
I hope there's no birds hit by that wheeling lacrosse stick.
And Jackson Penny and Elmer going against each other is a clash of
boys.
titans. Oh yeah. Jackson Penny, 6'4", 195, and on the other side, Arthur Elmer, 6'5", 196. So,
see if that 1 pound makes a difference.
I can't imagine that it makes too much of a difference, and that'll be a great matchup to watch all game as this timeout is called on the field.
I think that was an Arizona timeout again.
And we're going to get a report from Margot McCauley as soon as we come out of this timeout.
Go listen.
Oh, yeah.
She's got to listen first. Well, she's number 82 referee on the field. We talked about a referee last game that played at Arizona. That's Cole Day from Minnesota. He played at Arizona for back in the day.
So he's got Minnesota ties. He's got Arizona ties. Now he's reffing this game.
Hey,
what a coincidence.
It should be pretty even, though.
It's a small world. Oh, absolutely. It's a small world, though. And you find that out when you start working with lacrosse a lot. Everyone knows everyone in some way. A lot of these programs are tied to one another. There's tons of coaching trees you can look at. It's really cool to see the growth of this sport on the West Coast, and you know that more than anyone, Mickey Mouse.
Well, if you see the bottom of my resume, here's Margot who's ready.
All right, we're going to toss it down to Margot McCauley on the sideline.
All right, guys, they're listening into the Arizona huddle. Coach Pedrick said, guys, again, we are shooting ourselves in the foot, and that is why this is a close game. We have got to stop turning the ball over and start doing the simple things right. So look for them to get on the board and maybe break away in the last 5 minutes of this half.
All right, thanks so much, Margot, for the report from the sideline. And
just real quickly, as I was saying about the bottom of my resume, it says the thing that I'm most proud of in my history is the amount of guys from that played for Arizona are now coaching both men's and women's, boys and girls teams, and a lot of them wait till their kids grow up and start doing it, but. It's great. It's so unusual and unique in the sport.
Yeah, and it shows here at this event here. I mean, you see coaches talking to each other all the time, and sometimes it's because they played in college together, or that their playing days somehow tied to one another. Or they have teammates who happen to be brothers. Whatever it comes down to, you see so much. Connections throughout the sport of lacrosse, and it's great to see. Please tweet at us at Trey Lanthier if there's any connections you can think of that you'd like us to bring up on the air. We'd love to hear about it. Connor Gattenby brings it in for the Gophers as they're going to try to tie this game up. My tongue got twisted up there.
Let me look. I think it's all right. You're all right now. You're all right.
As this was a tie game at 4-4. Arizona got back on the board, but it still feels like Minnesota is riding that momentum right now. As Nick Abbott scoops this one up, he doesn't want to lose the ball again.
Yeah, he's hard to take the ball away from.
Yeah, honestly, the only way is to send him to the ground. Elmer gets high. Wow. Whew. Look at the big boy fly.
Absolutely. That was pretty exciting.
Yeah, I mean, and big trees do fall hard. But he's back up to his feet. And that shot, a pretty ambitious try, doesn't end up getting anywhere near the cage, but you got to give him points for effort. I give him an A+ for effort. This is a class.
I liked it.
He's acing it in my book.
Anytime somebody can lift off.
Yeah, especially when you've got a guy back for it. Sneaking around the corner, taking the shot was Chris Roulau, but a little
Ball
close.
Still loose.
And now Body Engum tried to come up with that one. It's still on the ground, and finally it's the Lax Cats who have it as Tanner Canego with the heads up
calmly
rolling past to the other
ball.
side of the field, realizing that there were no defenders over there. And Canego now patiently waiting for the clear to develop, the mark of an experienced goalie. As a nice spin move made there. And you saw that one coming, Coach.
That was Tyler
Ben
Duran.
Green with a shot that may have hit a car in the parking lot.
I'm thinking I better, at the halftime, maybe I'm going to move my car. It's right over there.
No, I know. There's a lot of cars up there. And I don't think they'd stand much of a chance not getting dented against a lacrosse ball being shot. Pass up ahead in this Minnesota clear. As Elmer on the far side rolling down.
Zach Rogers
into the box. Elmer looking for some separation. He takes another shot, but it looks like there's a timeout called by Minnesota. And we're going to step away for just a moment. When we come back, we'll have a sideline report for you and some more action to end out this first half. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we are back in Phoenix, Arizona for the remainder of this first half of action between number 24 Minnesota, number 9 Arizona. If you're Minnesota right now, what's your look coming out of this timeout?
Well, again, I think they're feeling pretty good about themselves. And apparently we're having a little trouble with the audio, so if you're hearing that out there, we apologize. And the crew is working hard to get it straightened out. But Minnesota's going to come out. They got the ball. Not sure exactly how much time is left, but they're going to be in their same offense and take some patience, have some patience. They want to have a good feeling going into halftime, and I'm sure they'll move the ball around and find the open guys like they've been doing. But they have a nice spread offense. I call it spread 6, and now they're going into an offensive play.
Workmeister from up top. Tries to find some space, has to roll out to the outside. Nothing, it develops inside. Now the pass for a cutting man intended for Soin.
Sticks with check on that.
Didn't quite connect. A nice job at the midfield, though.
Yep.
And it does look like they may have stepped over a bit prematurely there, trying to prevent that over and back violation from occurring. So now we will see the Arizona offense with a chance here at the end of the first half to try and do some damage. They're currently leading this one 5-4. And it's so far a very closely contested game. Both teams have really been going neck and neck, and it's hard to imagine either one of these teams breaking away at this particular point, just given how well they both played to this point.
Maybe we can get some kind of indication how much time is left in the quarter or the half.
And we do. As we asked for, ask and ye shall receive.
Double M to double M. Thank you very much,
1:15
Margo.
on the clock as Foster Bundy cuts through the center, and then the pass outside for Duran. Duran was slipping to his knees. He was trying to pass it, and obviously
ball is still loose.
The body movement ended up
ball.
making it an errant pass, and so Minnesota takes over. They've got under a minute to play here, and they're going to try and work this into an offensive opportunity for themselves. Alec Larson brings it into the box. He's being pressured by Ryan Falbo. Ben Nash from behind the net. An outside shot from Soin, but the Gophers are there for it.
Good backup. Important backup.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. Minnesota has taken some ambitious shots, but they've always had the backup there to come up with, to keep possession, as this is an errant pass. It was intended for Steve Van Sloun, who was pretty open on the outside, but instead it goes over his head. Now Arizona will take over with a manageable amount of time on the clock. We'll see how quickly they decide to move this in the clear. A bullet sent back to Conego. Conego now going to send it on ahead, right back to the man who inbounded it, Tyler Duran.
Oh, that's Duran. I'm sorry. Oh.
And Duran with a soft floater to Falbo.
Sounds like there's inside 10 seconds here.
And a pass inside. Austin Miller puts it home!
Zach Miller with, maybe 5 seconds, 6 seconds left? That was a yowza. And 6 seconds left.
6 seconds remaining in the half. Austin Miller pins it in the back of the net. And if you're the Minnesota defense, that's got to be a demoralizing blow right there.
Yeah, but I think still they'll recover from it. They have a very positive attitude in this game, and then the 10-minute break will do them right. They'll come out. Both teams will be on the side at the end saying, we can win this game.
So a violation gives Minnesota possession right here. And Nicholas, there was just a bit of unawareness from Danberg right there. Didn't realize that he only had seconds to work with. But that will bring the half to a close. A 6-4 lead for Arizona, but this one has not been low in the excitement department.
No, this game is definitely not decided right now, and like I said, both teams will be sitting there in their locker rooms, or so-called locker rooms, and talking about how they have the chance to win this game.
And we are going to go down to the sideline for Margo McCauley, who's talking to Coach Pedrick right now.
All right, Coach Pedrick, you said you wanted to start that game off with your offense on fire. They came out 2 really quick goals. Then you kind of slowed down a bit. You got a late one there. How do you get the offense going again in the second?
This game is about passing and catching. And if we can take care of the ball, we'll be fine. There's nothing schematically we need to change. All right, we just need to pass and catch. And if we do that, we'll be fine. All right, defensively, it's a direct result from us turning the ball over, giving them probably 10 to 12 more possessions than they should have. I'll check the turnover stat right now, but we're just throwing the ball away. There's nothing we need to do different except pass and catch and win the ground ball war and give a little more effort. I think they're out hustling us a little bit right now.
You allowed them to kind of fight back, get themselves back in this game. What do you say to your team to get the energy up? And you did get that late goal and keep that momentum that you had right there at the end going in the second.
Yeah, I'm not hitting the panic button. We just, like I said, we need to pass and catch. It sounds so cliche and simple, right? But if we pass and catch, right, get after it on the ground ball war a little bit, right, and start making a little bit better decisions, we'll be fine. All right, that's it.
All right, thanks, Coach. Good luck in the second. You heard it there from him. Keep it simple. That's what they're going to do in the second. All
right, thanks, Margo, for the report from the sideline. And Yeah, no, definitely some wise words from Coach Pedrick. Not hitting the panic button, and I mean, you're up 6-4. This is still a ranked team in Minnesota. It's still a great matchup between these two teams. I don't think there's anything either coach should be worried about at the moment.
Well, you heard the same thing now from both coaches in between the first and second period. Coach Limpert talked about, hey, it's 4-1. What's the big deal? We got them right where we want them.
Yeah.
So
and they proved that they scored the next 3 goals after that point.
They did.
So.
They tied it up, and now it's kind of changed back a little bit with Arizona scoring the last 2 goals. And I'm sure that what Coach Pedrick had to say is hold true. It's a basic, simple concept, pass and catch. And I don't think the sun is going to be a factor anymore on the field.
Yeah, the sun is setting behind us. It'll probably be completely set when we come back, but we're going to step away for the moment. Don't go anywhere. We've got a second half of action coming for you right up after this break. For Mickey Miles Felton, I'm Trey Lanthier. You're listening in to the LAX Coaches vs. Cancer Classic. Reach 11 Sports Complex here in Phoenix, Arizona, where we're awaiting the second half of action between Arizona and Minnesota in this game between the number 9 and number 24 teams in the MCLA, currently being led 6-4 by the LAX Cats, but that's not a big 2-goal difference. We're going to get a chance to talk to head coach Rich Limpert momentarily as he's heading into the huddle right now.
Obviously a very important time in the game. A lot of coaches talk about the first 5 minutes of a game of the second half, and I think it's going to be very telling to see how Minnesota comes out. If they're prepared, they look excited, they look like they're feeling good, and I'm sure they were told they're in this game, and they know they are. And here comes Coach Limpert.
All right, so we're going to send it down to Margot McCauley and Coach Limpert right now.
All right, Coach Limpert, you told me you guys overcame a lot of adversity to get here. Your bus broke down, took minivans, and then you fight back to get in this game. What does that say about the character of your team?
Oh, the guys are learning. They're coming together as a group, kind of figuring out who we are and that we can play at this level. So it's been a fun ride. We've got a lot to do here. Got another full half against a great team, so we'll see.
How important is it to win the faceoffs in the second half?
Oh, boy, that's big. Danberg's been doing a great job. Refs are yelling at us. We got to go.
All right, back to you guys.
And that's something you only see in live broadcasting as they were ushered off the field. But great job by Margot McCauley to go out there and get that interview as one of the referees, Juarez, looks over to us, make sure that we're good up here. And, of course, we are. We're ready for some lacrosse action to start off this second half and a big face-off to start things off. Nicholas Danberg has had a nice showing in that second quarter, but expect Arizona to make the proper adjustments on the wings and try to come up with some of these ground balls. Danberg just wins it right to himself. I mean, that's textbook clamp move right there to get possession for your team.
Absolutely. We should, next time we get a chance, we ought to talk about the new face-off rule, because it's significant. And most of the coaches and most of the players, well, probably not the players, but most of the coaches think it's one of the best rules that they've changed over the years.
Yeah, and we've heard a lot of deliberation. A lot of people said, oh, it's going to ruin face-offs. It's going to turn into a 50-50 battle. And that really hasn't been the case. I mean, some face-off specialists have had trouble because for those of you who don't know, the rule change means you can't have the ball on the back of your stick anymore and carry it. You can't pinch and pop. And that makes a huge difference for some guys who rely on that as Arizona comes up with the ground ball. That one was stick down, though, and Canego, what a heads-up play to just shovel that off to the right where he knew there was nobody else.
And here comes
Minnesota.
Nolan.
And, yeah, you mentioned him earlier, Nolan Baker, a defenseman, the long pole. A nice pass there to Foster Bundy. Not sure how he got it in there to Bundy, but he was able to get out of trouble.
It was intentional.
Well, I'm sure. I'm sure. So we're going to get our first look at the LAX Cat offense here in the second half.
It's Ben Breen waiting for the offensive players to come onto the field.
Breen fakes the pass over the top. Now he does look up there, Hunter Gore. 6-4 the score, Arizona in the lead. Duran was on the drive, and he had an eye for the shot, but slid to the ground before he could get it off. Minnesota comes up with the ground ball, and a quick pass in the clear, ends up on the ground. This one being battled for. It looks like Workmeister has it right now. He's met by a crowd of white jerseys, though. Nearly stepped back over the midfield line.
Very good ball movement.
And now Minnesota in transition, a very ambitious pass, almost got through. Austin Soin
out of bounds
was
to
looking
Arizona
right down
ball.
the middle. But yeah,
Arizona ball.
It's going to be Arizona ball, and that was a great defensive stop at the last minute or last second for Arizona.
Yeah,
to
excellent
cut
ball
him off.
movement by Minnesota, but stopped.
So the sun is almost completely set here in Phoenix. And then this is when the chilliness starts to settle in. And, of course, our version of chilliness is not quite the same as some people's version of chilliness. We consider, 45 to be pretty cold?
Oh, yeah. Putting on the mufflers at 45.
Exactly. A deep shot, Duran!
That's a big save.
And Komarewski draws nice cheers of praise from his sideline after that save right there. He had to get low for that one.
Duran is transferred from Tappan Zee, New York, which is near the Tappan Zee Bridge, if you can believe that comment.
I actually have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, that's a little north of the city.
Oh, some geography lessons here.
Absolutely.
So if anybody's ever up in New York or anybody watching from New York, let us know about the Tappan Zee Bridge and
Yes.
And where Tyler Duran's from.
It's a beautiful bridge, and probably like 90% of the other bridges in the world.
Hunter Gore with the pass across the way. Bundy was wide open in front of the cage. If that had been a connection, it's an easy goal, but instead
good ball movement and a fast break.
It's a stop, and now Minnesota the other way. Ben Nash with a shot on, but it misses the mark. Abbott from behind the net with the pass up top for Engum.
So here's Engum with patience.
He passes
dumping it off.
Elmer looks down low, trying to find Abbott. Or actually, it's Ben Nash who has it right now. Nash being guarded by Nolan Baker. Things slowing up a little bit. 10:50 mark here in the third quarter. Still a 6-4 game.
It's a shooter right here.
Drive inside,
but
and Elmer tried to get his stick up, but that's heads-up defense right there to keep the stick low.
Defense.
And Engum now with it. He passes it across the way for Soin, who looks inside. A chance right in front of the net. Abbott tried to go low, and Canego went even lower.
And the flags are flying. It looks like it might have been on number 50, Lucas Henkel, for a cross-check. Let's see what Mr. Juarez has to say. That's the call.
Yeah, and the referee's coming through loud and clear right there.
Sounds like he's mic'd.
Well, actually, what I did was I raised the mic down low on the field. So
good job.
A little bit of creativity
Trey,
on my part
you're the
there.
man, buddy. You're the man.
For those of you tuning in, please let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Unfortunately, my phone died, so I don't actually know how we can hear from you. This penalty will be released at the 9:24 mark. And Minnesota going to try and take advantage of this man-up chance.
Good ball movement.
Van Sloun is up top. He's got it now. Engum. And just working it around right now is Minnesota. Tic-tac-toe pattern.
Great
inside.
save
Engum
and a
stopped.
beauty. Yowza. Tanner. Canego. That could have been a game-saving save right there. Certainly the best of the day on either end.
Engum was wide open in front of the net.
Whoa,
and
that's a loose ball push.
Takedown.
White ball. It was Ryan Baker got toasted from behind.
Now Ben Breen tried for a drive inside. The penalty has been released, and
hello.
What an effort.
Hello, Ben Breen.
They were getting their subs
yowza.
in. Wasn't expecting anything to come out of that possession, or at least not at that point, given the fact that still subs were coming in and a couple changes being made. But guess what? Ben Breen don't care.
I totally agree with you. I was kind of watching the substitutions happening.
Yep.
And then my eyes went over to Ben Breen, and I saw him going to the cage.
Hey.
He probably surprised the goalie as well.
And that's the thing. Sometimes you can catch a defense sleeping when you're in a time that doesn't usually see much offensive chances.
Right. So, you have a situation there where the coaches are on the sideline yelling, don't shoot, don't shoot, don't shoot. Oh, nice shot.
It's a tricky one. And Breen right there, though, gives U of A a little more separation. They're now up by 3 goals, but that's the first goal of this half by either team. And you can expect this to continue in its defensive ways, seeing as there's been a lot of scouting done in this game, and you can see that on the field.
Yeah, Arizona seems to be playing a little more aggressively right now.
Nolan Baker had it, but he loses his stick. The ball is free, and now it's heading back the other direction as getting harassed
ball is down,
low.
whistle is blown.
Nicholas Danberg was on the ground trying for that ball, and a couple of bodies came crashing in on top of him. We'll see what the call is going to be here.
I would have to say it's a hold, but I'm not sure who it was against. It might have been against Matt Lai, number 16 for Arizona.
And let's see if we can turn that.
Hinkle's
that field
going
mic
off,
up
but
down.
he's going off for the substitution. And it looks like Matt Lai's got his head down, so he looks like the guilty party. Now they're making a switch. Baker's coming out, and Hinkle's going back in for Arizona. So we got a 30-second penalty for a hold.
So last time Minnesota had a man-up chance, it didn't actually work out in their favor. They'll be looking to get on the board this time around because the last time they had their chance, I mean, that was just an incredible play made by Canego. Engum was open inside. Ben Nash drives low off the cage.
That's another penalty. And Arizona's going to be 2 men down now.
This current penalty going to release at the 8:23 mark as we near the 8.5-minute mark, but a cross-check.
It's Hinkle's second cross-check.
Yeah, and that's a type of penalty you do not want to see a player get once, let alone twice, in the same stretch of 5 minutes in a game. And so he's going to take a knee. Now 2 men down for the next 7 seconds. This is, if I'm Minnesota, I'm coming out of this with a quick shot opportunity because there's got to be somebody open.
Right. This is a situation where Arizona's going to release the first penalty from the midfield.
And we'll see
Instead
Minnesota
of the sideline being the quickest.
Moving quickly here. Engum tries a shot. He scores! Body Engum may have gotten that one off before the penalty even released. And what a play to find him open. And that's just the how you take advantage of a 6-on-4 chance.
Yeah.
So a 7-5 game now.
That releases both penalties, by the way. Lucas Hinkle and Matt Lai.
Got it.
Matt only had, what'd you say, 7 seconds left?
Yeah, and actually 8:23 on the clock. So it was as that first penalty was expiring that he scored that. And Body Engum sort of making up for, that time when he hadn't been able to get past Canego. Not that he had to make up for that, because that was just a great play made by Tanner Canego. Yeah. Nothing you can do about that.
I got to make a little correction for you there.
Sure.
His name is Bodie.
Bodie the
it's
Body.
It's pronounced Bodie, and that's why they call him Bodie the Body.
Yeah, some of these names, I tell you what, they're not an easy pronunciation. We had some trouble with
Minnesota,
the Colorado goalie. Yeah, there you go, yeah. Definitely not always the easiest job in the world. A shot taken, that one off of the side of the cage, but a timeout was called
prior to
before he got the shot off, and obviously a good-looking timeout. The worst thing that happens as a coach, you call a timeout and they score in the, moments after.
Believe me, it's happened to me, and what you need right then is your mommy. You need a hug. Because, a couple of guys will come over to you and say, hey, Coach, that was a good timeout. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. The rest of the guys are going, what the heck did that guy do?
Well, especially if it's a late game situation. Obviously right here, just a timeout in the third quarter, and that one was nowhere near. So
that was an interesting situation because that was a pretty unsettled situation with a lot of the defensemen from Arizona going towards that corner, trying to get that ground ball, and Minnesota picked it up. And I never want to second-guess a coach. But I know how that feels. But he didn't score the goal, so now they have the possession.
All a hypothetical for us to chatter about up here in the booth. As the lights are on here at Reach 11 Sports Complex, we've got a sideline report coming for you from Margot McCauley.
All right, guys, I listened in to the Minnesota huddle, and the coach called the defense over, and he said, guys, come on, we got to get low, and we got to stay with him. We got to play aggressively out there defensively and create some chances for our offense by getting us the ball back. And, that's how we're going to get back in this game. There's 7 minutes, 55 seconds left to go in this quarter, so let's look for them to try and bring this game to a tie here at 7-all.
Ooh, and some bold claims from Margot. calling for the possible tie. And, hey, with how Minnesota's looked in the past couple of possessions, I wouldn't put it past them, especially if Arizona finds their way into more penalties. I mean, this is –
Yeah, they have to stay out of the penalty box. Obviously, they haven't been handling the penalties too well today anyway. And, most teams don't.
I mean, it's hard. It's hard because your entire defensive slide package is thrown for a loop, because suddenly you're missing a piece of your slide.
Man up is like being on a diet.
Man up is like being
every
on a diet.
time. It works
I'm gonna
every
tweet
time
that one.
if you run it. You got to run it, and it will work. They're sketched up by coaches for a reason.
I'm gonna remember that one. Man up's like a diet. Abbott on the outside, looking to get past the perimeter. Instead, just drops it for Nash. Minnesota looking for something to develop here as Gattenby lost track of that one. And remember, guys, Gattenby is playing with a high ankle sprain right now.
You can see his right ankle is taped.
Yeah, and that's a gutsy move. And you can tell, when a player is tough enough to just endure, as long as he's still playing at top shape, you got to love seeing that.
As a coach, you want to see the other team's players all healthy, because you want to beat them at their best.
Kyle Capel battling for a ground ball. He's got it, but the stick checks are still coming in.
That was Mark Babbitt.
A nice bullet pass up top for Bodie Engum. He
goal!
Comes through. Wow, and that actually wasn't Engum. It was Workmeister who was cutting through the lane, and this Minnesota sideline is amped up. 7-6. UA leads, but it's been a nice Minnesota comeback over the last couple of minutes.
Absolutely, and that was a definite yowzer. It's a nice bounce shot. He had his momentum going forward. It was an overhand shot. Perfect. Not much goalie could do about that.
So far in this second half, Minnesota leading it 2-1 in this frame, but it's a 7-6 game on the board. Arizona still with the lead, but it certainly does not feel like it with the air from both benches right now.
No.
But this is a big face-off for the Lax Cats if they can come up with a win here.
That's a great pickup right there by Penny.
And now let's see if Arizona can turn this into an offensive production.
Back to Penny. He needs to give it up.
And he does.
He does, exactly.
Austin Miller gets it back to behind the net, and Breen has it on the far side. Going to let some of the offensive players check into this one. Foster Bundy, Hunter Gore, and Zach Rogers soon to be out there as well.
That was an important face-off win for Arizona. Penny picked up the ground ball, got it back eventually to Canego, and then took a pass back from Canego. Brought it upfield.
And it's really interesting. We've seen the second and third quarter both started with a lot of time of possession for Minnesota, and they all ended on a crucial face-off win that resulted in an offensive chance as Zach Rogers goes with a bounce shot. It is swallowed up as it's Komaruski, and this is an interesting note here, is that Komaruski has been splitting time in goal all season long, yet he's staying in right now. They've been platooning. Him and Matt Jorgensen have been platooning all season, and it seems like Coach Limpert likes what he's seeing from Komaruski enough to leave him in during what's usually Jorgensen's frame.
Yeah, by the way, that errant pass went out of bounds, Arizona ball. And we watched Jorgensen play a couple of times, and he was having good games. So it's always a little touchy changing goalies in a close game.
Austin Miller can't catch the pass. Instead, it deflects all the way out near the midfield, but Zach Rogers tracks it down, and Arizona's going to get set back up.
And it's just a gut feeling that coaches have to get. Maybe they get help.
Doran takes a shot that one, or actually it was Hunter Gore with the rip right there, but
Gore's
it was
tough
off
kid.
the side and heads all the way out of bounds. It's going to be Minnesota's ball. And Minnesota wants that last possession back after they turned it over and gave it right back to the Lax Cats. So expect them to be maybe a little more patient in their ride, as taking it solo right now as Jacob Ogren finally retreats and sends it back to the long pole, Gavin Core. They're taking a lot of time here as Core looks up ahead for Ogren, and they are into the box. So they'll have a chance to get set up here and we'll see if the Gophers can tie this one up.
Yeah, I see that Arizona gave Foster Bundy a break. And now it looks like they're bringing Zach Miller off, or maybe just for some, yeah. Bundy probably just needed a break as he goes back on the field. Whoa, there's a penalty.
And a flag is up. Let's
that was
see.
A slash.
As the pass up top intended for Elmer ends up on the ground. Still, as Engum has it, he makes a nice swim dodge, then tries the shot. And I tell you what, if that's a little bit lower, he catches pretty much the entire defense off guard. He was very close to the cage right there.
Yeah, penalty was on, I believe, number 31. But, yep, 31 is
and we talked about it.
Greg Gutierrez.
The penalties can come back to bite you, especially with how well Minnesota's been executing on their man up. You might need another miracle play from Tanner Canego to keep him off the board here.
Yeah, I'd go with a great play as opposed to a miracle play.
Sure,
but,
no, absolutely.
we are in God's country out here, though, so you never know.
And that penalty started at the 3:15 mark. It's going to release.
Ball is down, but Abbott retains possession. Nash with the ball.
Nash looks up top. Van Sloun tries for the spin move. He loses the ball, and that's a big break for Arizona as you come up with a big defensive stand and the man down.
That was a big play for Arizona. They created that break on good defense.
And Penny.
Look out.
Up ahead as Falbo with some speed.
Falbo.
He's skirting his way down the
Nice
sideline.
Freshman, huh?
Yeah, he's got this bright blonde hair on top of his head. Yeah. Foster Bundy
Phoenix here.
had it in the near corner. Now he's skirting all the way around. He takes a shot. He scores!
Bang! Yowza!
Foster Bundy just took advantage of that situation. The defense was slacking a little bit. Bundy starts sprinting, sees the chance to turn around the corner, and there's nothing you can do if you're Komaruski there.
No. And, you know, they've scored, they must have, they have 8 goals. They probably scored 3 or 4 of them in the same way.
Yeah, I mean.
Down low, coming around.
Yep, we've seen Foster Bundy do that. We've actually even seen Ben Nash do that for the Gophers as well. It's been something of a whole for both defenses so far here tonight. And let's see how this impacts the momentum out on the field as a big face-off win for Danberg.
I'm looking on the sideline at Hunter Gore, and he doesn't look good. He looks like he got dinged up on that last play.
And Minnesota responds! What an effort from Alec Larson, who comes through for the Gophers.
It's a good thing you were watching the game.
Yeah, I barely was. I was trying to see what was going on with Hunter Gore, looked over, and all of a sudden, Minnesota's on the board again. 8-7 the score now. And this is going back and forth, back and forth. And it's all starting with the face-off play, and you can tell that's directly relates to how these teams have been succeeding. Whenever one team goes on a run on the face-off X, they also go on a run in the scoring column, and that seems to be a trend in lacrosse in general. But there are times when you see teams come up with wins despite not winning the face-off battle. Larson, big ground ball recovery right after his goal, but he loses the ball. It's kicked forward though, and then along the long pole for
calmly
Minnesota gets it over to Danberg.
Danberg calmly picks it up in the middle of the traffic.
And it was Nick Fix who sent it over to Danberg, and that's a heads-up play for the LSM. Fix does have a goal in this game, but examples of how LSMs can be so crucial to an offensive scheme, especially in the midfield, is right there with how he was able to keep the ball in Minnesota's possession. Connor Gattenby up top gets it over for Soin. Soin's pass
Out
back.
of bounds.
And that's not what you want to see if you're head coach Rich Limpert. That was a big chance wasted for Minnesota. And granted, they'll have more chances, but you really wanted to capitalize on this recent momentum and tie this game up.
Absolutely. I think Abbott needed to wear his high tops for that catch.
And it's something to keep in mind when you're playing with
He's the open man.
as Canego.
You go the other way, though.
looks up ahead, finds Baker.
I think I heard 1 minute. 1 minute.
1 minute remains.
Just a reminder to everybody, we have the scoreboard is, we're seeing the back of the scoreboard.
Yeah, so it's thrown us in for a bit of a loop. There's under a minute to play here in this one, and we'll keep you updated. A minute to play in the third quarter. Gotta make sure to give you that correction as we're not at the minute mark in the fourth yet.
In this one quarter.
So an 8-7 lead for Arizona. It has been very, very back and forth. 20 seconds on the clock right now. We're getting updates from Margot McCauley on the sideline, and it looks like Arizona's waiting it out for the last shot. Ben Breen fakes the pass, now going to pass inside. Trying for the attempt was Foster Bundy, but he could not connect. Miller was back for it. Now Miller going to roll up at GLE. He fakes the pass, jump shot. Oh, what a save from Komariski to end this quarter.
There you go. 8-7 after 3. Arizona up by a goal. And this is definitely anybody's game.
Yeah, I mean Arizona with a slight advantage in the scoring department, but it's not much separating these two teams. And Minnesota has proven that they can go on a run at any given point, and they've been doing that. The 5-2 Gophers have really shown up to play, and you can see
goalie is jamming everybody in the huddle. He's pretty excited,
and that's good. He has a lot of reason to be excited. And remember, as we mentioned earlier, this is not Cody Komariski time. He is usually not out there during this second half, so he has a lot to be excited about, especially with a save that he made right there. We're going to go down to the sideline. Margot McCauley was listening in on the U of A huddle. Margot, what do you have for us?
All right, guys, right there, Coach Pedrick said for his Arizona squad, he goes, guys, I love this situation right here. This is the only way we can get better. We haven't played great lacrosse for the past 3 quarters, and now we've got 15 minutes left, and he challenged his team to have somebody step up. So let's look and see who answers his call in the last quarter of this game.
Thanks so much, Margot, and as Derek Pedrick said, somebody's got to step up. This is adversity, and this is a challenge for this U of A team. They have a lot of talent. I talked to Coach Pedrick before the game, and he said that he feels like this is the best team in the country that he has on his roster right now. And you know, you think you'd hear that a lot more from head coaches, but a lot of coaches are pretty honest, and they're pretty straightforward. And Coach Pedrick is one of those honest, straightforward guys, yet still giving his team the praise of thinking they're the best team in the country. So he's got to have a lot of faith in what he's putting out there on the field. And it's shown with their results so far this season, but they're facing a tough test here tonight against Minnesota.
It's Penny winning a faceoff again at the long stick.
Yeah, this faceoff, the ground ball still rolling all the way out to the Minnesota side. They're going to call a push, and it goes, and they initially
Arizona ball.
Yep, it will be the LAX Cats ball, and
must have been kicked out by Golden Gopher.
Ben Breen lets his middies get onto the field. Zach Rogers comes out. Tyler Duran comes out.
And Falbo.
Ryan Falbo on the near side with it. And a bit of a dangerous pass there as Breen's looking up top. But Falbo's able to track down the ground ball. Arizona clearly just starting off this quarter with getting their feet wet a little bit here. Zach Rogers passes back at X, and that one almost found its way out of bounds. A good hand-eye coordination by Bundy to get low and get it. However, he loses his footing, and Minnesota is heading back the other direction. An exciting turn of events for the Gophers. It was Marshall Rengstorff who brought that one across the midfield line. He sends it down low, and it goes out of play. This Arizona sideline is amped up about that turnover.
Well, they need to be because they got a break there. And we'll see about them clearing the ball. They haven't had too much trouble clearing the ball, and they haven't again. So now they need to.
Duran took a body check, but still rolling forward. And this is a big couple minutes right here in the early goings of this fourth quarter. Who's going to set the tempo between these two teams? Right now, an 8-7 game, but very little is separating them as Arizona clinging to that 1-goal lead. A chance almost formed right there for Foster Bundy. He pulls it out and gives it up top for Ben Breen.
We saw a lot of people sliding in that spot last night. Now that it's getting darker, it's probably getting a little wetter.
Breen thought about the wraparound chance. Instead, looks up
Up
top.
top.
Falbo has a chance. He wants
Oh,
scores!
yowza!
Ryan Falbo goes top shelf with that one, and that's a beaut.
That was a great pass to see him up there, get it over the defensive sticks, and Falbo knew what to do with it. He got a major yowza.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I mean, it wasn't as if it was an easy shot for Falbo to make, but he made it look easy. And he has a celebration on the sideline. Ryan Falbo has a lot to be excited about after putting that one home.
Game's a long ways from being over right now. So
Absolutely. But that definitely gives a bit of a pep to the step of the Arizona LAX Cats now. This ensuing faceoff has a lot of implications. It's still on the ground. No one's come up with it, and now they're going to call an illegal procedure going against Arizona. No, against Minnesota. So Arizona has the offensive possession once
Breen
more.
with the ball. He shoots a little wide, but Arizona retains possession.
This ball is way out in the boonies, and it's being chased down by by Foster Bundy.
Foster's spent a lot of time in the boonies anyway. So he's from St. Louis. Come on.
Bundy brings it in the near side corner. This is a chance for U of A to really add some additional separation, give themselves a little bit more wiggle room with the lead they have at the moment.
12 minutes.
12 minutes left in this game.
In this quarter.
In the quarter
the way
and
this
the game.
game is going.
Yeah, that's a great point. In regulation,
Oh,
a pass
big
inside,
save.
a chance for Bundy, but a save from Komarewski. And
He dropped the
Komarewski
ball.
lost track of it. Bundy looks for a man through the middle. He couldn't connect with Breen, who was waiting there for it.
White ball. If that should have been a delayed whistle. Push was against Minnesota. Arizona came up with the ball.
Yeah, not sure
But
what was going on down there, but either way, Arizona with possession. Falbo on the near side. Rogers up top, and out far it's Duran. Duran struggling to scoop that one up.
Duran.
Duran. I like it. What's that song of theirs? River something? Rio? I think it's something like that. Anyway, a turnover for Minnesota. They're heading back the other direction. Engum finds his man. They score! It's Austin Soin.
Austin Soin just rips one.
And Austin Soin was in great position right there, but Engum able to find him, realizes he's going to draw the attraction of the defense. Soin isn't as big of a name as Engum. The defense was obviously watching Engum, and Soin gets open, puts it home. So back-to-back goals for 22s as Soin and Falbo both sporting the same number.
And I will say that those two guys get a yowza. Because that was a goal.
We give out yowzas.
Yeah.
Is that our award system here?
Absolutely.
2 yowzas, 3 yowzas, 4 yowzas.
Yeah, you get them on your helmet.
You should be like a critic, like a food critic. You know?
Yeah, because are
Give
you
out
referring
give
to my
out
size
yowzas.
now or what?
Oh no, never. Minnesota winning the face-off. That's a huge face-off win for the Gophers. And right now, they've got the ball in the box. They have a chance to tie this game up again. And just a moment ago, it felt like it was all Arizona's way. Now it feels like it might be creeping all the way back Minnesota's way. And that's how this entire game has gone. It's swinging like a pendulum.
Absolutely.
And I personally could not tell you who I think is going to win this game at the moment. And both teams playing their hearts out in the field right now.
Well, so far Arizona hasn't lost the lead, so they had a tie at one point earlier in the second quarter. But
we'll see if you just jinxed him. A shot taken from deep. It was a bounce that went over the cage entirely. That shot coming courtesy of Kyle Capel.
Now I'm fat and a jinxer. Oh, my God.
That's not at all what I'm saying. No, but jinxing in sports is apparently a huge pandemic. You know? I mean, how many times are you listening to a game and a broadcaster says something and you blame him for what happened? I mean, what? That's one of the things I will never understand about sports broadcasting.
I don't get that either.
As
it's in baseball where they won't.
Where they won't talk about a perfect
no-hitter.
game or a no-hitter. Yep. So either way, no perfect games, no no-hitters in this one here tonight, but a very, very good game out on the field as a nice move by Soin. But, the check came in at the last moment, and that ball sails all the way out of bounds on the opposite side. So Minnesota's going to take over, or Arizona's going to take over, and they've got a chance to do some damage here and really win the momentum back in their favor. Canego comes pretty far out, approaching that midfield line as we have 9:30 left in this game.
It'll be interesting now to see how Arizona plays it. Are they going to get a little conservative, or are they going to go to the cage? My guess is they're going to go to the cage, because I think that's the way Coach Pedrick likes to play the game, and I certainly respect that.
Zach Rogers weaves his way out of trouble and passes it up top for Hunter Gore. This is the first time we've seen Gore out there for quite some time. And that's a big impact player for the Lax Cats. Zach Rogers rolls up top. Thought about the spin dodge, then passes it low for Breen. Breen goes high to low, scores!
Yowza!
Ben Breen puts it home, and that's a big, big goal.
That's a big
for
goal.
Arizona.
And guess what, Troy? Trey, sorry.
I'm guessing what you're going to say next, but I'll let you say it.
That gets a yowza!
I knew that was
and
coming.
Oh yeah on top of it.
Wow. You can get two of those at one time?
Oh yeah, the oh yeah is
How many
special.
yowzas have I got? How many
You've had them all day long.
Oh, well, there you go.
You're
all right.
helping me, man. You're helping me look good out here. Or up here, or wherever we are. Question is, who's going to help me down from here?
That is a concern. I'm dealing with the same concern. Maybe we'll just have to stay up here for the rest of our lives.
All right.
Ben Breen
Hope they serve food.
gives a 10-8 lead to the Lax Cats with that goal there. And this is another big face-off. And what's happened, for the most part, is Arizona scores, then Minnesota wins the face-off, and they come right back and score. And guess what? They're following the trend. They're hearing me down there. Danberg wins the face-off, and now we'll see if Minnesota can keep the streak alive of back and forth scoring. Abbott inside, he scores!
Yowza!
Nick Abbott just weaved his way through the defense and snuck that one low to low. Tanner Nego did not see that at any point, and Minnesota is right back in this game. And guess what? I mean, we called that. We know exactly how this game's going to play out. It's like they're following a script.
Absolutely, and it's an exciting script, and it's going to have a great finish to it.
8:34 on the clock. This game is a one-goal game right now, 10-9, as Abbott comes up with his first goal of this game. Big face-off on the field right now.
Penny back out there with the long stick.
And a hard stick check laid.
Chopping away, and Nolan
Baker.
Baker. Huge pickup.
Yeah, and guess what? This is, again, following this script. Ben Breen gets open inside. He takes a shot. That one, a bit of an off-angle try, but you got to give him some effort.
Absolutely.
Or give him some points for effort, as he had a man back. It wasn't as if he was costing his team anything.
No.
And so
I thought he was going to get a yowzer on that one. He came close.
He did come close. Can you get a yowzer without scoring a goal?
No.
Or without doing a Tanner
No,
Canego?
you have to do something good.
Well, a goal isn't the only thing you can do that's good.
Well, that's true, but it has a lot more significance usually.
Falbo Bundy now
stuffed by the
wow,
defense.
What a stop there. As
was that stopped by the goalie or Breen?
No,
or the
it
defenseman?
was the defenseman. It never got to the goalie. And Breen passes in the middle. Austin Miller goes high to low, but a stop made by Komaruski.
Right
what
in his stick.
A save for the goalie. He is standing on his head
Look
tonight. Abbott up ahead. They were trying to find him in transition. He couldn't come up with a ball. Tanner Canego scoops it up, and now Arizona heading back the other way.
That was a great look to Abbott, who was behind the defense. Just couldn't corral it in, as we say out here in the West.
With your lasso? With our
lasso,
lassos?
yeah.
Yep. Ben Breen to Bundy. Arizona has a chance to make a big statement on this possession, but no matter what happens, they can't
Seems
seem
like
to
we've
put
said that before.
Exactly, right? They cannot put the Gophers away no matter how hard they're trying. Zach Rogers, nice spin move out, drops low.
Breen.
Breen goes up high, and guess what?
Saved.
It's swallowed up by Komaruski.
Good save. Great effort by Ben Bream, but better save.
And it's up ahead where Minnesota going to get set up on offense. This is a 10-9 game with 6:30 on the clock. Up top with it, Joe Chu gets it off for Engum. Engum tries to work his way inside, now drops it back low. And we're back up top for Chu. Minnesota can afford to be patient here. They can afford to get the look they want. And you have to wonder what a goal here would mean.
It probably would mean a tie game.
Oh, thank you. That's what I was looking for. I was wondering.
That's a yowza for you, buddy. That's a good call.
Elmer up top. Gives it to Chu. Chu with the bounce try, but it goes out. However, a man was back for it.
Who's that? Abbott behind the cage.
And what an exciting game this has turned into. A timeout is on the field.
Who called that? Do you know?
And no, we're waiting to see.
Oh,
it was Arizona who called the timeout. We'll get a sideline report from Margot McCauley in just a moment. But, Mickey Miles, what has this game become? I mean, we're talking about a 10-9 game between Arizona and Minnesota. Both teams are so amped up, and they're playing good lacrosse.
This has turned out to be a great game for the fans, a great game for the players. This is the kind of game you want to play in, and it certainly hasn't hurt the announcers. But this is the kind of game you want to play in, and Coach Pedrick had it exactly right when he said, this is the way you learn to get better. You got to play in these, destroying a team on the field by 10 goals, 15 goals really doesn't make you better. It makes you cockier, or I should say overconfident, excuse me. But, this is the kind of game that's going to make a man out of you.
And we're going to go down to the sideline for Margot McCauley right now.
All right, guys, very generic stuff there from the coach. I listened in. The assistant was with the offense. He was saying, guys, we got to keep the ball moving. We've got to create that opportunity that we need to tie up this game. We've got just under 6 minutes left to play, but the game is in our hands. If we want to win this game, now is the time to do it.
Excellent.
Yep. Great words.
Good
Great
comments.
words.
Good comments from the coach.
Yeah, no, and honestly, you think about it, I mean, he's exactly right. They are well within striking distance. I mean, you're down 1 goal. You score right here coming out of this timeout, and all of a sudden, this game is tied. This is basically a new game entirely.
Absolutely.
It's the next. It's whoever goes on that next run beyond that point. But first off, Minnesota's going to have to get past a very stout Arizona defense. And coming out of a timeout, the head coach Derek Pedrick called. He's put out the best defensive strategy he's got to try and stop him here.
And he was also.
And look at that! It translates to a turnover, and it goes right back the other way. Picked out of the sky on a very poor selected pass.
And the ball
Joe Chu gets
taken away.
And back and forth we go. I look down for a moment, and suddenly it's in the other team's possession. Tanner Canego slows things up and says, guys, come on. Let's get the ball across midfield right now. And they do.
Nice passes up the field.
As
once again corralled by
Matty Lai,
who
brings it in. 5:15 on the clock. Still plenty of time left in this one for both teams to do some damage. 10-9 the score.
They're going to be changing players again because Matt Lai's a defensive midfield as Ryan Baker just came off. Ryan Baker's had a really good game today.
Does he get a yowza? He hasn't scored a goal. He hasn't fit the goal-scoring category. Oh, he did? What? No.
Remember that. He's got the first goal or the second goal.
You're right. He scored the first goal of the game. What am I thinking? I have a bad memory.
That's all right.
Bad memory. Zach Rogers up top getting some tough pressure.
I don't want to rely on my memory, though.
I think both of our memories combined are pretty worthless to pretty much anybody.
And that's the way it is with our eyesight, too.
Yeah, that's
what the
true.
hell are we doing here? Or heck.
It's been a fun game so far. 10-9 the score. Arizona in the lead. Falbo double teamed, able to get the pass off. A rip from Zach Rogers is a save for Komaruski. And sometimes even the easy saves come up big late in the game.
It is a big save because he's got a turnover here, but it was not a good choice on shots.
So
however,
Minnesota now on the other end, still with another chance to tie it up. They have not been able to tie it since this game was 4-4 in the second quarter. Ever since then, Arizona has held the lead, and Minnesota has never led in this game. So a big chance right here for Minnesota to really up the level of intensity on the sideline and really raise the roof here. Or, obviously no roof to be raised, but you know what I'm saying.
I hear you, brother.
Get the crowd into it and get the sideline into it as we see Soin.
Some of the Arizona players coming off the field with their heads down. I don't like to see that.
And this definitely hasn't been the showing that Arizona wanted to have. But Minnesota, a very quality team, and they've shown up to play here as a low-to-low try from the center of the defense from Kyle Capel. Yep. Yeah. He basically just golf putted it on a try. Now Abbott tries to work past ankle. All the way out up top. Where Gattenby gets open, he takes a shot.
Save.
I think Canego got a piece of that one.
Absolutely.
But it still bounced high, and it's a ground ball recovery for Minnesota as Woodcock has it.
Outside.
Minnesota with a try, but yeah, it's off to the outside. Canego able to scoop it up, and Arizona's moving in transition. 2:45 on the clock, and we are in crunch time here, Mickey Miles.
Absolutely, and now it's getting a little more serious for Minnesota. But as you keep saying, one goal ties it up, except Arizona has the ball.
Yeah, and you have to wonder right now if the smarter play is maybe to let some clock die off right now. You still want to move with a purpose, but this might be an opportunity for you to kill some clock and put a little bit more pressure on that Minnesota offense. But it looks like Ben Breen thought about a shot for a second there, didn't like what he saw, and it's back out to the midfield.
Yeah, Ben's got an amazing stick. You can do a lot of different things with it, with fakes and so on and so forth. Not sure that they want to shoot yet.
10-9 the score. Arizona narrowly leading this one over Minnesota. And the Lax Cats do have possession. Zach Rogers up top. 1:50 left in this one. Rogers skirts past the first line, but he'll roll back out to the outside. And you wonder when the refs might put a stall warning on. Rogers inside. He's right in front of the crease. He puts it home.
Bang! No goal. He's in the crease.
Wow. That is a huge turnaround. Komaruski scoops it up. Minnesota's going to be heading back the other way. This game is still a one-goal game. Zach Rogers entered the crease on his drive through the center, and now it's Minnesota's chance to respond. This is Gattenby working his way in, and it looks like there's going to be a timeout called by Minnesota. And 1:20 on the clock right now. Coach, walk me through what's going through your head right now as whenever you're a coach in a game like this.
Right.
What are you telling the guys?
Well, actually what's happening in this particular time is we're not trying to win the game right now, Minnesota. We're trying to tie it up. And that's the first objective here is to tie the score. And they have nice possession of the ball. They move the ball around well. Arizona hasn't been pushing out too far, so it gives them a chance to move the ball around. But I say right now the big thing that's got to happen is who's picking up a loose ball, because the ball is going to be loose.
And we're going to go to Margot McCauley with a report from the Minnesota huddle.
All right, right there, guys. The coaches said, guys, we were here last night, this same situation. 1 goal difference at the end of the game. This is where we decide who we are as a team. This is where we show what kind of heart we have. So he's really challenging his team to step up and show that they're not a team that just gives up when there's one goal to tie up the game with less than a minute to go, a little over a minute to go. We'll see if they can step up to his challenge and tie up this game.
Thank you, Margot. And it didn't even occur to me that this Minnesota team also played in a 1-goal affair just a night ago, and you were at that game.
Yeah, I did the game. It was a 7-6 game.
I mean, what are the odds of that? Two back-to-back nail-biters. I tell you what, we should get some heart attack medicine for Rich Limpert, because no coach should have to go through that.
Well, I'm proud of Rich Limpert and his staff and the team, because they have not given way at all. And this is a great experience for them.
Well, and you can tell they don't believe they're the underdogs in this game. I mean, they believe
anymore.
They are right there with Arizona. Up top with it is Joe Chu. Now to the far side where Van Sloun has it. They're trading back and forth. We're nearing the minute mark here from Phoenix, Arizona. Not much time to work with. 10-9 the lead. As an errant pass. Bodie Engum was looking down low, trying to find Austin Soin, and somehow it got away from him. It goes way too high. Now this Minnesota team is going to have to put some pressure on. Engum comes out of the game. He cannot be too happy with himself as a long pole working it past the midfield. He loses track of the ball. This one is loose. Scooped up, though, by Arizona. Now a lot of pressure being put on, and a stoppage on the field. It looks like a timeout. And not sure
I think
what's going on here.
Canego called that timeout.
And that's a very heads-up play by the goalie. But you wonder why Pedrick wouldn't have called it from the sideline. But either way,
well, Coach Pedrick was probably waiting for him to get it into the box, and I think that maybe Tanner just had his mouth working quicker.
Yeah, and so a bit of frustration for Minnesota. Bodie Engum, not exactly the pass you wanted to see there. But you know what? You play such a great game, and you play so well. It really is something to say for how Minnesota's played tonight. And you know what? This game is not over yet by any means.
Of course not.
They're still going to have to put some pressure on. But we'll see how this one ends out. And Margaret McCauley was in that Arizona huddle, but she's won't be given a sideline report apparently. Maybe not too much that she could report.
I don't think she liked what she heard. She walked away with a red face.
Yeah, no, and sometimes those huddles, as
39 seconds in the quarter.
39 seconds left on the clock right now, and Ben Breen is going to start out with this one with two guys watching him. This could be a very crucial series of plays right now.
Come out of the box.
And the goalie is out of the cage. Breen just streaks his way across to the other side of the field, doesn't think about looking to the empty net, and that's a heads-up play. As he loses track of the ball, it is loose on the ground, and it's still Breen's possession. Not sure who has it. Well, and there's only 20 seconds left in this one. It's a long pull for Arizona,
looks like
who's
Matt
come
Lai.
up with it. Matt Lai slips to the ground himself. That's a very slippery patch right there. There is not much time left in this game. They're going to rule it in Minnesota's favor,
No, they changed their mind. It looks like it's going Arizona.
No, and you can see the sideline here as, it is going for Arizona.
There's a flag.
Not sure what's going on the far side of the field. This one's still a 10-9 game.
There's
Arizona ready to rush the field. Flags are coming down all over the place in the waning seconds here. Arizona with a 10-9 lead. There's 7 seconds on the clock. There is a stoppage on the field. We do not know what's going on out there. As we mentioned earlier, our eyesight.
I think that first flag might have been, you have to give a guy 5 yards. And maybe
we'll
he
see.
didn't.
We'll see. We're definitely going to be able to get the audio as.
Legal procedure delay on 1-5. That's a technical 30 seconds. Unsportsmanlike conduct number 1. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Hey, no shots.
Both penalties are against Minnesota.
Yeah, and that basically, I think those are frustration penalties more than anything.
I'm sure.
You're trying for the ball late in this one. Not much time left, 7 seconds once the whistle blows and this play starts back up. And I don't even know if that's enough time for Minnesota to do anything with if they were to force a turnover.
Well, Arizona needs to just heave the ball up the field or
10-9
run
the
it
score.
out.
This one runs down. The final buzzer will sound. Arizona wins it in a tight one, 10-9. And what a game we just saw here tonight, Mickey Miles.
It was a fun game and close all the way. And I will give out a yowza to both teams.
Oh, wow. Teams get yowzas now.
Both teams get yowzas. Coaching staffs, everybody's got it. And then we have to pick a player of the game, and I would have to go with, I think we're in agreement here, with number 25 for Arizona, Ben Breen.
Yeah, and you can't go wrong picking Ben Breen. Maybe we should call it the Yowza of the game.
The Yowza of the game. That is the oh yeah of the game.
There we go. Yeah, so a great showing here from Arizona, but you cannot take anything away from what Minnesota did out on the field tonight. They proved they can hang with some of the best teams in the country. Came close with San Diego State last night, lost that one in a heartbreaker, and unfortunately for them, another heartbreak loss here tonight. But that's what builds you up as a team. We talked about how Pedrick mentioned that heading into the fourth quarter. That's exactly right. I mean, this team is developing, and I tell you what, they are a heck of a lot better now than they were when the weekend started.
Yeah, I think both coaches made that same point, and it was a great game and an enjoyable game to watch. Tension-filled all game long. Yowzers flying here, yowzers flying there, and Minnesota now gets a chance to go back to where they to the cold weather. They're going to miss this beautiful weather out here, but they certainly deserved great kudos for their accomplishments.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's a lot to be said as we're going to get an interview with head coach Derek Pedrick and the player of the game, Ben Breen, momentarily. A very exciting one. Cody Komaruski still chatting up with some of the...
Yeah, he was trying to. Actually, that was a little not too good on Arizona's part. He was trying to congratulate everybody, I think.
Yeah, and you know what? A lot of congratulations are in order here tonight. This was a well-fought game from start to finish by both programs, and I don't think anyone should be walking away from this one feeling too bummed out. And obviously, you wanted to come away with the win if you're Minnesota, but there's nothing that that they did really wrong here tonight. I mean, they played a heck of a game, and we're going to go down to the sideline now and hear from the Arizona LAX Cats head coach, Derek Pedrick, and Ben Breen. Wow, it's a 2-for-1 combo deal. Margot.
All right, not the prettiest, but you do get the win. What do you take away from tonight's game?
Well, first off, got to give a lot of credit to Minnesota. They battled. There's a reason I didn't get a lot of sleep last night is because I knew they would come out and battle. They're a good team, right? And, on our end, we need to clean up the turnovers. I know we've been talking about it a lot. I talked about it at halftime. But we just need to settle down, play within ourselves, and, just fix the little things. I mean, it's X's and O's. There wasn't a lot of stuff that we needed to do. We just needed to execute. And, I'm kind of glad we were in this game. I think it's a good building process for us. One-goal games are tough. We've been in 3 of them this year. So it's only going to help us out down the road. So I'll give credit, though, Minnesota. Coach did a great job over there.
Midway through your season, you got a lot of tough games left, but you walk away from this tournament with 2 wins. How huge is that for your team?
It's huge. I don't want to overlook a W. Win's a win. I'm proud of the guys for fighting and battling. It's 2-0 is always good on a little road trip. And, we're in a good spot right now. We just need to fix a few things, and we'll be just fine.
All right, thanks, Coach. I'm going to turn over here. We got our player of the game, Ben Breen. 3 goals, 2 assists. It wasn't that pretty of a win, but what does this say about your team?
It says we have a lot of resilience. We kept fighting till the end. They didn't let up one bit either. Wasn't one of our prettiest games, but we pulled through in the end. So proud of my boys.
Any special teammate you want to give a shout out? Also, family, anybody watching? Anybody who hooked you up with a nice assist?
Probably just my man Tanner in goal. He's always standing on his head. So props to Tanner. It's my man, and let's keep it rolling.
He wanted to let everyone out there know he just shaved today for the first time, so he doesn't always look like this much of a baby. He's got the baby face going. Yeah, he said, let him know.
Yeah, I just shaved today, so this is my baby face right here.
Baby face for the win.
Shout out to Mickey Miles Felton right there, the man, the myth, the legend right there.
All right, he loves that. Back to you guys. Thank you.
All right, Mickey getting another shout out.
Hey,
you're a popular guy.
I almost got a yowza. I thought I was going to get a yowza there.
I wish. That would have really completed the whole game. But, Margaret McCauley doing some in-depth reporting, finding out, the shaving story. That's always great to hear about. But, a lot of smiles on that U of A sideline, and for good reason. He mentioned Tanner Canego. And honestly, we had both names, Canego and Breen, written down as our potential player of the game candidates. And it could have been either one with how well both of them played. I mean, you look back to that Canego game, that Canego play against Engum. That was unbelievable.
Well, you're talking about a 1-goal game, and that was the stuff of the
absolutely
of the Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. So that's going to do it for us from Reach 11. Thank you so much for tuning in. For Mickey Miles Felton, I'm Trey Lanthier. Have an awesome night. And don't forget, we've got games for you coming up tomorrow as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. For all of us here at the SLC YouTube channel, I'm Trey Lanthier, signing off.